Everybody wants to know the secret. I'm 102 years old, and everybody asks me, Margaret, what's the secret? How did you make it this far? How are you still smiling? They think I'm going to say yoga or vitamins or staying busy. I do those things, of course, but that's not the secret. You want to know the secret? Lean in close. I'm going to tell you something that took me a century to figure out.
The secret is you forgive. Every single day, you forgive. Peace is not something you earn. Peace is something you give yourself. And most people, they never learn this. They hold on to hurt like it's treasure. They wait for apologies that never come, for justice that never arrives, and they die bitter. I didn't hold on. I let go. And that's why I'm still here, still breathing, still finding beauty in ordinary days. Before you think I had it easy, let me tell you what I carried. My father was a drunk, a mean one. I remember hiding in the closet when he came home, listening to my mother scream. I remember the sound of breaking dishes, the sound of her crying through the walls. I was 6 years old, sleeping with my shoes on in case I needed to run. I left school at 12 years old in 1936 to work in a textile mill in Massachusetts. 12 years old, standing at a loom for 10 hours a day until my back felt like it would snap in half. The noise was so loud I couldn't hear right for years. My hands were raw, covered in cuts that never fully healed. We lived in a company house with 7 other people. I sent every penny home to help feed my younger brothers and sisters. I didn't own a dress that wasn't patched until I was 19 years old. My first husband, Thomas, he was tall, had kind eyes, played the guitar on our porch every Sunday. He worked hard, made me laugh, promised me things would get better. We had 14 years together, 14 years. Then one morning, March 3rd, 1958, he went to work at the factory. Accident with the machinery. They didn't even bring him to the hospital. They sent a man to my door at noon to tell me my husband was gone. 32 years old. I was 34 with 3 children and $200 in the bank. No insurance, no family nearby, no idea how I was going to survive the next week, let alone the next year. I took a job as a cleaning lady, then a second job at a diner. I worked from 5 in the morning until 11 at night, 6 days a week. My children barely saw me. I barely saw them, but we survived. Then in 1985, my son David, my oldest, my baby boy, died of AIDS, 27 years old. I held him while he wasted away to nothing, watched him shrink from 180 pounds to 90. The hospital staff wouldn't even come in the room. They left his food tray outside the door like he was contaminated garbage. I had to beg them to check his IV. I had to clean him myself, feed him myself, hold him myself while he cried because he was so scared. The last thing he said to me was, "I'm sorry, Mom." Sorry. Like any of it was his fault. I was 61. I thought, this is it. This is where my heart stops beating. This is where I give up. So don't tell me about pain. I know pain. I know what it feels like to bury a child. I know what it feels like to be judged by people who've never suffered a day in their lives. But here's what I also know. Pain doesn't have to poison you. And that's the first lesson. Write it down. Pain doesn't have to poison you. You get to choose what you do with it. After David died, I had a choice. I could hate the world, hate God, hate every person who got to keep their son. And believe me, I did hate. For about a year, I was the most hateful woman in Springfield. I stopped going to church. I stopped talking to friends. I barely looked at my other children. I wanted everyone to hurt the way I was hurting. I wanted the world to feel as dark as my heart felt. I screamed at strangers in the grocery store. I threw things. I drank too much. I said terrible things to people who tried to help me. My daughter Rebecca stopped calling because every conversation ended with me yelling or crying or both. Then one Sunday, my daughter Rebecca, she was maybe 32 years old, she brought her kids to visit, my grandchildren, 4 and 6 years old. She said, "Mom, the kids want to know if Grandma's ever coming back. They keep asking me why you don't love them anymore." And I looked at her face, at my grandchildren hiding behind her legs, afraid of me, and I realized they'd lost their uncle and they were losing their grandmother. That afternoon, I made a decision. I said, "Margaret, you can hate the world or you can love what's left. You can't do both." And David, God rest his soul, he didn't live his short life so I could die inside. He lived with more courage in his last year than most people have in a lifetime. He fought. He smiled even when he was dying. He told jokes to make the nurses feel better about not coming into his room. So I'm going to honor that courage. I'm going to be brave enough to keep living. I'm going to forgive everyone who failed him, everyone who judged him, everyone who made his last days harder than they needed to be. Not because they deserve it, because I deserve to be free. And that's what I did. Not because I wasn't grieving. I grieved every single day for years. I still grieve. But I decided that grief wasn't going to be the only thing I felt. I was going to feel gratitude too. Gratitude that I had him for 27 years. Gratitude that he knew he was loved. Gratitude that I got to hold his hand at the end. I was going to choose love over hate. So here's what I want you to understand. You're carrying something heavy right now. Maybe someone hurt you. Maybe someone betrayed you. Maybe someone you loved left you. Maybe someone you trusted destroyed you. Maybe life broke your heart and you don't think it'll ever heal. I'm not going to tell you to pretend it doesn't matter. It matters. Let yourself feel it. Be angry. Be sad. Scream if you need to. Cry until you can't breathe. But then, and this is crucial, then you forgive. You forgive so you can be free, not them, you. Because carrying that anger around is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. It doesn't work. It only kills you. Nobody else can give you that freedom. You have to take it for yourself. Now, let me tell you about Henry. 1995. I'm 71 years old. I haven't thought about romance in 37 years. Haven't even considered it. I figured that part of my life was over. I go to a community center art class. The only reason I went was because Rebecca made me. She said, "Mom, you need to get out of the house. You need to do something besides work and watch TV." I'm telling you the truth. I didn't want to go. And I see this man in the corner. He's painting sunflowers, and he's got paint on his nose, and his glasses are crooked. And I think that's the sweetest thing I've seen in decades. His name was Henry Chen. He was Chinese. He was 74. He was a retired postal worker, quiet, gentle, had a smile that made his whole face crinkle up. And when I sat down next to him, the other ladies in the class whispered behind their hands. I heard them. They weren't even trying to be quiet. An Irish Catholic woman and a Chinese man in 1995 Massachusetts. Mother of God, the stares we got. People crossed the street when they saw us together. People I'd known for 30 years suddenly had somewhere else to be. The priest at my church pulled me aside and asked if I was sure about this. My own daughter Rebecca, she was worried. She said, "Mom, I'm happy you met someone, but what will people at church say? What will the neighbors think? What about Dad's memory?" You know what I told her? I said, "Rebecca, I love you, but I spent 37 years alone. 37 years. I raised you kids alone. I worked myself to the bone alone. I buried your brother alone. I'm 71 years old. I found someone who makes me feel alive again, who makes me laugh, who treats me like I matter. If the church ladies don't like it, they can pray about it. That's lesson number 2. Write it down. Stop living for other people's approval. At some point, and I hope it's sooner than 71, you understand that judgment from others can't touch you. Only you can diminish yourself by believing them. Other people's opinions about your life are none of your business. They're not living your life. They're not walking in your shoes. They don't know what you've survived, what you've lost, what you need to be happy. And here's the thing most people never figure out. The people who judge you the loudest are usually the ones who are most afraid to live their own lives fully. They tear you down because your courage makes them uncomfortable. Henry and me, we had 19 years. 19 beautiful years. He taught me to paint. I taught him to bake Irish soda bread. We took walks every evening. We held hands like teenagers. We traveled to places I never thought I'd see, California, Hawaii, even China to meet his family. His family accepted me with open arms. His sister told me I was the best thing that ever happened to him. Meanwhile, half my church still wouldn't sit near me. He died in 2014 in his garden, planting tomatoes. 93 years old. I was holding his hand. He looked at me and said, "Maggie, I'm the luckiest man in the world." Then he was gone. I think about him every single day. I talk to his picture in the morning. I still make his favorite soup even though there's no one else to eat it. But you know what? He would shake his head at me if I stopped living. He'd say, "Maggie, don't you dare waste a single morning feeling sorry for yourself. We had 19 years. Some people search their whole lives and never find 1 year of what we had." And he's right. So I keep painting for him. I keep planting flowers for him. I keep living for both of us. You want to know what brings me joy now? I'll tell you. Tea in the afternoon with 2 sugars. Rain on the windows when I'm safe inside. My great-grandson, Oliver, he's 6. He video calls me every Wednesday and tells me about dinosaurs for 20 minutes straight. I don't understand half of what he says, but his excitement makes my whole week. The smell of fresh laundry, the sound of birds at dawn, a soft blanket when I'm cold, a stranger who holds the door open for me, the postal worker who remembers my name, the teenager at the grocery store who helps me load my bags without me asking. That's it. That's everything. I don't need diamonds. I don't need a big house. I don't need a fancy car or expensive clothes. I don't need anything more than what I have right now. And here's the secret within the secret. I could have felt this free at 25, at 40, at 60. But I was too busy keeping score. I was too busy remembering every wound, cataloging every injustice, replaying every hurt. I was too busy being afraid of what people thought, afraid of what I might lose, afraid of being hurt again. Fear and resentment stole decades from me. Don't let them steal your life too. Lesson number 3, and this is the one that matters most. Freedom is not something that happens to you. It's not waiting at the end of therapy, the end of the lawsuit, the end of the suffering, the end of the apology you'll probably never get. Freedom is right here, right now, in your willingness to let go. But you have to be brave enough to open your hands. Most people hold on so tight to their anger, their hurt, their grudges, they never feel anything else. They squeeze so hard their hands go numb, and they forget what it feels like to hold something beautiful. So tonight, when you finish watching this, I want you to try something. Close your eyes. Think of one person you need to forgive. Maybe it's someone who hurt you years ago. Maybe it's someone who hurt you yesterday. Maybe it's your parents. Maybe it's your ex. Maybe it's yourself. Not for them, for you. The weight of resentment, the bitterness, the anger, it's not hurting them anymore. They're probably not even thinking about you. They're living their lives while you're trapped in the past, replaying the same pain over and over. It's only hurting you. Forgiveness doesn't mean what they did was okay. It doesn't mean you have to let them back into your life. It doesn't mean you're weak or stupid or naive. Forgiveness means you're choosing yourself. You're choosing peace. You're choosing to stop letting them take up space in your heart and your head. Forgiveness is like breathing. You have to practice it every day. Some days it's easy. Some days you have to fight for it. Some days you have to forgive the same person for the same thing 10 times before breakfast. And if you do, I promise you, everything will change. I'm 102 years old. I lost my childhood to violence and poverty. I lost my husband at 34. I lost my son at 61. I lost Henry 8 years ago. I should be the angriest woman alive, but I'm not. Because every morning I wake up, I say, "Thank you, God, another day. What will I do with this gift?" Not, "Why am I still here? Why did they get to die and I have to keep suffering?" What will I do with this gift? That's the secret. That's the whole secret. You forgive. Every single day you choose to let go. Not because people deserve it. Most don't. Not because forgetting is easy. It's not. Not because the pain goes away. It doesn't always. You forgive because holding on to poison is slowly killing you. And hatred is a waste of whatever time you have left. My mother used to say, and I remember this from when I was small, even though she had every reason to be bitter, she used to say, "Margaret, life is short, but grudges make it shorter." I didn't understand when I was young. I didn't understand at 40 or 60 or even 80. But now at 102, I finally get it. Life is precious. Not fair, precious. With all the heartbreak, all the loss, all the injustice, all the people who failed you, all the ways the world let you down. Precious. And you only get one chance, one life. That's it. So stop waiting for people to earn your peace. Stop waiting for everything to be resolved, for every wrong to be righted, for every person who hurt you to apologize. Forgive now, today, this moment, while you still have time to feel light again. Let go of the weight you've been carrying. Open your hands, breathe. And when you're ready, when you've finally released all that poison, you'll realize something beautiful. You're free. That's the secret.